we're working on updating our AI agent. So here's what's going on, right? If I ask ChatGPT right now, so here's what we're doing. We have created an AI agent that essentially goes out and looks for. So this spreadsheet right here, this has been populated by an AI agent. And now the best analogy that I can suggest for what an AI agent is assume it's an intern, right? You give it some task. You say, hey, why don't you go out there, look for any sort of questions related to affordable housing, Section 8, and pull back these questions, put in a spreadsheet, and help me answer or draft a response to it based on everything that you have learned from me, from my content, from whatever you read. And then I'm going to go and look at the answer and say, no, I don't disagree. I disagree with that. So here's a very good example, right? This person was asking about buying in Florida. And I said, the initial intern or the AI agent said, hey, if you're gonna go buy in flood zone, you gotta check if flood insurance is affordable. And then you gotta plan for preventative measures, right? Blah, blah, blah. Or same thing for wildfires. I didn't like that answer. So then I actually said, hey, you know what? This is the answer I would do. No, I absolutely would never buy a property in a flood zone. And this is the type of content that I need to put and train my AI agent or my own intern, right? I'm just going to use them synonymously and teach it that, hey, if anybody asks me, should I buy in Florida in the flood zone? I need to answer no. So right now, if I were to ask the agent, is buying a rental property in Florida that is in a flood zone a good idea, right? If you were to ask that question to sort of my AI agent or the clone of myself or aka the person that I trained to go through all my content, like what's it gonna do? Right. And then we're gonna try to figure out how do we fix it. But right now, I'm essentially taking all these answers and I just get to go out here and say, hey, you know what? I get to add my comments now. So now probably 80% of the work is done for me, but I'm doing what was previously unscalable, right? I didn't have time to go and research and look up all the questions on Reddit about Section 8. And if you understand right now that ChatGPT's answers are like 4% of all ChatGPT responses are pulled from Reddit. That's a huge amount compared to 0.4%, I think what it was on LinkedIn, and like 0.2% on YouTube. So Reddit is pretty much the forum where a ton of ChatGPT answers are being sourced from. So if you don't do it, you're gonna risk being forgotten essentially. So that's why I'm spending so much time having a research agent update all of the questions, update all of the answers with sort of my past understanding of affordable housing and drafting the answer. Oh, this one's still spinning. So it's still trying to figure out, hey, how do I answer this based off of what I've seen? And I'm going to do this one more research afterwards. See what it comes up with. True fuck, can return thing. Quick rant. What exact FEMA flood zone is there? Do you have an elevation certificate plus a current flood zone insurance quote? Okay, that's not a bad answer because I might not have said. I mean, typically, it's trying to qualify the question, right? This one's trying to get some more information. Hey, what flood zone is it? And because that will give you what the percentage is or likelihood that that area will flood. That's a very interesting perspective. That's actually kind of smart, right? So now going forward, what I want to do is okay, let's say an world class programmer and an expert at writing system messages. The current system message below is returning answers still when it really should take a hard stance and recommend against investing in any hazard zones such as earthquake, brush fire risk, flood zone risk, and when. Sarah, how would I update the following system message so it can be more straightforward with such recommendation for rental property investments? Okay, so now I want to do always recommend against-ing. Not hedge or suggest depends. The correct and only stance is do not invest. This property has a interesting. So that's good. Okay. Let me see if I put this in here, what happens. All right, if I do that, and then I save it, cancel. Okay, let me copy that. So my partner Brian probably updated the system message already. So now I want to go in there and just see what they have done. Okay, if I keep this and I save it, and then say, is investing in Florida where the property is in a flood zone, healthy cash flows. Good idea. Let's see how it answers now with the updated system message. Now, if it's right, it should be going into the model to figure out, okay, does Kent have in his database a question specifically that addresses flood zones? And if it does, how does he answer it? Because right now it's going into the Supabase vector store and figure out like, hey, is there a chunk about this question that is in our database that can answer this? So let's go ahead and go through this. So after we get this chat interface up, then you can see up here on the top right, we've created a Gmail user interface. So essentially, I'm going to attach this to my personal email so that in the future, when someone emails me a question about Section 8 or about affordable housing, I can now have someone draft an answer for me on Google Spreadsheets, and I can go in there and give it some feedback. It's pretty much same thing as if someone is helping you clone a version of yourself. That's exactly what we're doing here. Let's see. Well, it's gonna keep running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's run 5 times now. Let's see how many more times it's gonna go through. A little bit longer than I would have liked because it's been spinning for about a minute now. 15,000 tokens. Even though my override rule should have taken place. So this is gonna be interesting on kind of what it comes up with. Okay, you're waiting in Florida deal in flood zone. One thing. Direct answer: no. Do not invest in this property due to hazard risk. Flood zones in Florida makes expenses out. Insurance can spike or vanish. Storms can force vacancy rehab. To actually put a fee in flood map. Exactly. If it's areas will walk away. If it's near the time outside, get 2 written insurance codes plus citizens, and then price your error. Oh, that's a good answer. Add an insurance contingency and early out clause you're offered. Do not go hard. Boom. Wow. That's a pretty good answer, right? That's a pretty good answer after I added that prompt. Okay, I gotta save this one. This is gonna be so good. So that's how you update your AI agent, or quote unquote, telling your own intern, hey, this is a steadfast rule. I will never tell anybody to invest in a flood zone, a brush fire zone, some of the high risk areas, because the insurance expense is gonna keep skyrocketing. And when your insurance expense continues to go up and up and up, it's almost unpredictable. So when it's unpredictable, even if you are the best underwriter, right? I have seen so many multifamily properties and heard through the grapevines of how insurance expenses have doubled, if not tripled, in the last couple of years. And no one ever underwrites. No one ever analyzes these deals, assuming that insurance will go up that by that much. They might have like a 5% increase in expenses, but not a 200%, 300% increase. No way. So now that deal that you thought was going to be worth X amount of dollars, it's just not going to be worth that because of how much more expenses have increased. So just be very, very careful about what's going on with your properties and your interns and how you're making these recommendations. And you can kind of see how I asked ChatGPT to help me figure out what else do I include in this that matches my personal preferences, where I take a hard stance on something specific. All right. So hopefully this was helpful for everybody. I think this is just a skill that I'm learning on how to clone myself, but more importantly, how to help more people at scale. And I want to help people in a way that resembles my thoughts, my values, and my perspectives, so that they don't get a generic ChatGPT response from someone. If I'm calling myself, that person, the way they talk, the positions that they take, needs to be really closely aligned with me, because otherwise, how can I help more people at scale? And learning how to train your intern, learning how to prompt your agent, that's probably one of the most important skills. All right, hope this helpful, everybody. This is day 733 of going live. I hope you all have an amazing day. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 734. Have a good one, everybody.